Don't engage alone. We do this together.
Yeah!
Yeah!
We got it! We got
New 52 book.
it! Somebody clip this one.
Welcome on to Two Capes. I'm Jared, and today I'm here with the Phoenix Press. What's up, brother?
You know, Jared, there needs to be some changes around here.
Yeah, so that's what we're going to talk about today. So, as you guys know, when stuff is being adapted, and Teladia's here. What's up, dude? So as you guys know, it's like we've had creatives on the show, particularly Sam Liu, and he said there are some stuff that when you're adapting like comics for like animation or even live action, there's some stuff that's just not going to translate when you're adapting, whether or not that's characters, costumes, and such, as we're seeing with James Gunn's Superman. So Nick, why don't you start us off and basically talk about actually, you know what? Let's start by talking about what we think were the most accurate to the source material adaptations of superheroes.
Deadpool and Wolverine.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Starting out, yeah.
Yeah.
Go on.
Go ahead. Nick.
Oh, I thought we were all just mentioning our favorites. I said mine, so I was waiting for someone else.
Oh, okay. With me,
okay.
It's Zack Snyder's Justice League because it gets the overall.
Of course.
It gets the overall like feel of reading a Justice League book because it's supposed to be like grand and epic. The costumes look great, James Gunn, and really the character interactions are well. How about you? Yeah, go ahead.
Before Teladia, I just want to say the best Batman costume ever was Batman and Robin.
Okay, so Teladia, how about you?
Okay, so for me, it's between a mixture of two. I would say either Batman Begins or Zack Snyder's Justice League, because in Batman Begins you feel that year one vibe to it, right? And Zack Snyder's Justice League is basically Justice League War. That's what I feel to it.
Yeah, it's called, the book is called Origin. The movie was called War. But yeah, I see what you're saying there. It's same thing.
Yeah, same thing. But you, sorry, you get what I mean, though, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because with Batman Begins, there was like it told Bruce's life, and you got to see the origin and everything in Batman Begins, and it definitely felt a little bit closer to adaptations to Batman Year One, a little bit. But obviously, we didn't get Ra's al Ghul in Year One. That's the only difference, right? So
yeah,
I guess you could say that's a change they made.
Yeah, exactly.
A little bit of a change, but it was worth it though, because it.
Well, here's the thing. I mean, see, with the Ra's thing in Batman Begins, I didn't really count that necessarily as a change. They just didn't mention the Lazarus Pit in any way. So I count that more of an omission because at least there, because here's the thing, the Lazarus Pit is the one part of Ra's al Ghul that makes him very fantastical. If you take that out, or at least don't mention that, he's a terrorist. That's what he is.
Because if Nolan really wanted to adapt to realistic, it would basically be Ra's al Ghul chooses a successor, and then he disappears, and the new person takes on the name Ra's al Ghul. So the name Ra's al Ghul is immortal, and it's kind of like the Phantom. Like that's if you want to do a realistic version of Ra's al Ghul, that's how you do it.
So in other words, that they'll be going for a whole "I am Spartacus" thing.
I was thinking the Phantom, but that works too.
That works too. Yes, exactly. But in the comments, drop down what adaptations you thought were the most accurate. But anyway, continuing on, the thing. So now let's talk about this. So I think what's important And I've always said, when you're adapting comics or gaming or what have you, as long as you keep to the overall spirit of what you're adapting, I'm fine.
Right.
If you're there were a few times in the Decamu when they adapted books, didn't necessarily follow the plot, but it's like, actually no. Here's a better idea. Captain America Civil War. That's pretty much the Civil War book. I mean, no, it completely changed like a lot of the plot of that Civil War book. However, it still kept to this is what Civil War is about.
It's very much a in name only adaptation, but like you said, Jared, it definitely does keep the spirit.
I was just about to say, Civil War, the changes that it made with that film, I'm just like, some of the things just weren't there, like, you know, Captain Marvel not being there, and you know, some of the other characters.
Who wasn't there for? Well, she wasn't there for Civil War I. I don't think she was. She was. Well, she was as Ms. Marvel, and a tolerable character. Isn't it funny how that works out? But essentially, she didn't play a central role until Civil War II. Yeah.
I mean, you do know that the original ending for Age of Ultron included Captain Marvel.
I know, and that would have been actually really cool. And not played by Brie Larson. But anyway,
I do want to say though, one thing. I'm sorry, I had something I want to say, but I didn't want to interrupt you guys. So I was trying to be patient. So
go ahead.
For me, when it comes to changes, there's two things to note: is you've got to strike a balance. It's like you guys have said, the spirit matters, but also what is an acceptable change does change over time. Because you got to remember, in the early 2000s, the comic book costumes were considered untouchable. Like, that's why we got like the black leather, and I do like the X-Men costumes, but we do have to note they were trying to shy as far away from that as they can, and that was acceptable in like 2000, 2001. But nowadays, it's almost a laughable concept of why people shied away from it so much.
That, Nick, here's why and looking back on it, I don't necessarily like to change the X-Men costume. They actively also made fun of the previous of like the more cartoony costume.
What would you prefer? Yellow spandex?
Yeah, exactly. So onto the spirit, if you just change it because, hey, okay, it would make more sense if they're like we're wearing like tactical gear. Okay, that makes sense. I'm fine with that. At least you had a reason for it. But when you actively make fun of what came before, that's when I start to have an issue.
The suits were objectively less practical than spandex. You see them behind the scenes where they couldn't even get off like a 1 foot high like retaining wall. They couldn't even like lift their knees high enough. You know, like they were that unpractical.
And the thing about it is so, and that's my point there. It's like if they had gone with spandex or at least a different costume, or it's like if you look at like the Sam Raimi Spider-Man costume, even that one was like pretty accurate, and you could still move. It's just my point is, if you make fun of the main source material, then I start to have issues. Then you get to like, oh, I am or you are.
You are,
mic issue.
You are.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry. Let me check this. Oh, I know why.
Yeah, like the quality is different, but the real problem is sometimes you like cut out, then you'll slowly come back in.
Okay, I had to change my headphones to my AirPods, and it also changed my mic by accident to my AirPods. So, all right.
Oh, I hate it when it does that. Sorry.
I know, don't you? So, moving on, the other thing that I kind of want to say is that if you're modernizing source material for the modern audience, the thing about it is like, see, here's the thing. Going back to like Man of Steel and Zack, what he did is he took the already existing source material and he tweaked it. Yes, he did change it slightly, tweaked it so it would work in the main, in like the modern world. So like you would believe that like this character existed, but it's still the spirit of Superman. Everybody, hey, what's up, Daniel?
Like,
Daniel says,
hey guys. Sorry.
Hey,
yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, he says, well, sometimes movies influence more the comics than the opposite. Also, remember the movies are the door to comics for normies. Yeah, exactly. That's kind of why they do that. What do you want to say, Nick?
The thing I wanted to say is, I know that like updating for modern audiences is kind of like a derogatory. It's like, oh, great, they're doing that, but sometimes it does work. Like for example, newspapers are kind of dead, so having Peter work for the Daily Bugle, the newspaper, doesn't really work in a modern context. But having worked for the Daily Bugle, the website, the news site, that works in a modern era. Like that is updating it for modern audiences in a way that actually works, not updating it like, oh, everybody's blah 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 now. I'm trying to,
yeah, exactly. It's like, yeah. Go ahead, Teladia.
I feel like I agree with Nick when it comes down to Spider-Man, but when it comes down to, let's say, the DC side of it, they're very like 1930-ish, newspaper. That's what they're based it around. They're not gonna like modernize it like for example, what
They would.
BVS said, like BVS, right? It says news everywhere, water, wet.
Yeah,
was it a newspaper? Was the Daily Planet a newspaper in BVS?
Yeah, it was. Yeah, it was, because at the end of the movie, when Superman's dead, and like Perry's in the printing room, and he holds a newspaper that says Superman's dead.
I always imagine the Daily Planet. I always imagine the Daily Planet kind of like the New York Times, because the New York Times still publishes newspapers, but they're mostly a website now.
Well, in the new 52 in Teladia, and I know this because we covered Superman, Wonder Woman, and where Clark left the Daily Planet to form his own like little internet blog, because that's where people get their news from. So he was like more of an internet journalist. And guess what? That worked. That's how you update it, because he's still being the journalist, but he's doing it in a new medium. And then TJ says, yes, the change is good if it makes sense. Now,
yeah, and like Teladia said, it might not necessarily make as much sense because Marvel is modern. Like they are like trying to be modern.
They're supposed to.
But like Teladia said, I see his point. I don't necessarily agree with him, but I definitely see where he's coming from. But like it makes more sense for newspaper in like a DC universe because it's more of an old fashioned kind of thing.
Well, the other thing is like DC fans are the one, or are, if I would estimate, the most likely to complain about changes. So DC is too like scared to change anything. They could, but they don't want to because they're afraid of pissing off Twitter. And we all know that you can. Yeah, go ahead.
Go on.
Imagine if they did actually make the Daily Planet an online website and they had like the Daily Planet isn't a newspaper anymore. Oh my god,
Nick,
not my Daily Planet.
You get those keyboard warriors on Twitter saying, raging. Oh, like this isn't the Daily Planet.
Superman.
This isn't what I signed up for. I'm just like, guys, it's fictional characters. Fictional
all right, Jared.
characters.
Yeah. Hey, what's up, Barry? What's up, Sage? All right. Yeah, I gotta play it. Where is it? Oh, boy, since you mentioned the Daily Planet, I'll start with this. Now,
okay, they're talking about fictional characters. Fictional characters.
Other breaking news. Water. Wet.
reference like 3 clips. I had to use them. But so let's see what the people are saying. Hey, what's up, Sage? We're going to the topic. I do believe adaptations have a strong impact on how comics depict their lore. True. Heck, didn't Wonder Woman's spinning transformation originate in the 70s show? Yes, it did. It did. Plus, if you notice, after like Zack took over in DC and did like and brought in Gal Gadot's Wonder Woman. Wonder Woman had like a more armored costume. That's where that came from.
I mean,
like more.
If you want to go down that route, Kryptonite. It came from the TV show. The Batcave was in the Batman series.
From the radio show.
I did. That's what I just said.
You said TV show.
You said TV show.
Fine, I misspoke. Radio show.
Oh man.
Because the announcer wanted 2 weeks off, and so they invented this thing called Kryptonite. The Batcave was from the original 1940 serials. I mean, I can go on, and let's not
Harley freaking Quinn.
Livewire, as we'll discuss here on Sunday.
Heck yeah, heck yeah. And Barry said, I think X-Men 97 has shown us, especially with how few people were alive to read the old comics, you can copy a panel that works well. Example, DC Justice War. Yeah, exactly. Because what the X-Men 90 show did, and by funnily enough, Pa Kent said, with great power comes great responsibility before Uncle Ben said it on a TV show. So Marvel copied from DC again? Wow. But anyway, Barry brings up a good point with the X-Men show, because that is pretty much... because it shows that the stories themselves are not old-fashioned. You can still adapt these stories. You may have to tweak a few things, unless in like X-Men 97's case, where you're explicitly telling us it takes place in the 90s.
Yeah, that's going to be my problem with part 2 if they keep it in the 90s.
I think what they're doing is advancing it to the 2000s or something like that. That's why they're going to the Morrison costumes.
So they're going to call it X-Men 2003.
X-Men 03. That actually,
it's a bit of a tangent. See, this is a problem I've had with like season 2. It looks like it's stripping away all the X-Men 97 identity, and now it's just a generic X-Men show. It's like, what's even the point now anymore?
Okay, I can kind of see that. That kind of works. But on that, it's like you can still adapt the 90s X-Men like comics. Or here's the thing. It's like a lot of the times when you have like the Avengers Earth's Mightiest Heroes show, otherwise known as JLU, but for Marvel, that adapted straight up comic books that actually had a good portrayal of Secret Invasion. And you know what? The story turned out really well. So,
I mean, let's be honest. The only good adaptation of Dark Phoenix was in the original X-Men cartoon run.
Yeah. You know why? They did it over 4 episodes.
They gave it time to cook. But also they adapted a lot of the other stuff, like the contest with the stuff. You know, there's a lot more to that.
Now, here's the thing. If I were to do the Phoenix Saga now, let's say I've set it up. Let's say I'm at the point where I can do it. I'm making it 4 movies.
If you do nothing else, please do not hire Simon Kinberg for a third time.
Nope. I'm saying, you know what? You had 2 strikes, and in my game of baseball, 2 strikes and you're out. No, I would essentially say do it 4 movies. I don't know. You do 4 movies, 2 to 4, because that way you can stretch out the source material and set it up. Barry says, I think at the beginning you should mostly adapt the comics, but then as things go on, go your own identity. Show how JLU made the Camus arc. Or here's the other example. Batman the Animated Series, because yes, that took inspiration from the comics, but as far as I know, that didn't adapt actual comic book stories.
Here's how I would do the Phoenix Saga. It would be a trilogy.
Yeah.
So you'd have Becoming Phoenix, Phoenix, and then Dark Phoenix.
Okay.
Basically, the first movie would end with her becoming Phoenix. And then the next movie is her Phoenix and her slow corruption into Dark Phoenix. And the last movie is essentially Dark Phoenix.
You can even end movie 2 with her destroying that planet full of inhabitants. Like that's the post-credit scene. Like that shows she goes evil. There you go. No, but it's like so to my point about BTAS, they didn't adapt the comic stories, but this is a big but. They got the spirit of Batman and all of his rogues. In fact, they even created new spirits, as in the case of Freeze. But the point is, they got the gist of who these characters are, and then decided, okay, so these characters are great. We can put them in all these different scenarios. Let's just do our own stories, somewhat inspired by the comics.
Yeah. I think one of the good things about the Snyderverse is he was really good at adapting like the spirit of certain eras. Like Snyder's Batman is obviously the Frank Miller Dark Knight Returns. It's very clearly like the costume, direct cover homages at times. Now, Jared, I think you'll correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe the Superman is like mostly New 52 inspired.
New 52 with a little bit of post-crisis thrown in there, but in terms of like the situations they put him in very have, particularly the Grant Morrison Action Comics, like first volume, even because he gets captured and tortured by humans, as Teladia and I know for we covered last week's Under Two Capes episode. But yeah, so it was pretty much that. Wonder Woman, it was interesting. It was the new 52 part was she's Zeus's daughter. The rest of it is very much George Perez post-crisis. Obviously, the Justice League movie is new 52. Flash.
So you're saying that George Perez is a blueprint?
Yes, he is. He should be the blueprint for anything Wonder Woman, and not Tom King. By the way, buy Absolute Wonder Woman. It's a delight. By the way, Nick, so you know what's kind of interesting? So Tom King has not congratulated Absolute Wonder Woman on anything, and it was, I think why Britt and I were talking about this. I think he's a little pissed that. So Absolute Wonder Woman, the book advertised as very different from the traditional Wonder Woman, is getting rave reviews from fans and critics alike, and is dramatically selling 180,000 from what I saw.
Okay,
and his book
I
is
need
struggling.
I need to do this, Jared. I need to do this.
Go ahead.
I swear, if I had a nickel for every time an alternate universe take on a character came out and was so popular and gave fans everything they wanted and showed up the original, I'd have 2 nickels. But it's weird that's happened twice.
Actually, no, now it's happened 3 times with Absolute Batman, too! Wait, I just realized that, yeah, you're right, it's the Ultimate Spider-Man thing all over again!
That's why I was going for it.
I never realized that! That's a good point! Oh, God, that's awesome. And actually, comics... Yeah, go ahead.
I guarantee you the Spider-Man editors are... I'm sorry, go ahead.
No. Go ahead. This works for adaptations.
Oh, I'm sure the Spider-Man editors are kind of ticked about this. If New York Comic Con has anything to do with
yes, exactly. On that, so in case you guys don't know what we're talking about, you know what? Go watch the last stream I did on next channel for that description. But I'm just going to tell you this: it was not good for Marvel. That's what I'm going to tell you.
It was a bit of a disaster. Let's just say it was a bit of a disaster. Teladia, did you hear about this?
So you're telling me the fans gave them an ultimatum?
Oh God!
Teladia, you saying you watched it?
I watched the stream.
Oh, okay.
But so Barry Allen says, if I had a nickel for every time Oliver Queen was adapted to live action and he ended up choosing the blonde hacker girl over Black Canary, I'd have 2, which isn't a lot, but it's weird that it happened twice.
When is the other time? I know one of them is Arrow.
Smallville.
Oh,
they literally had Black Canary in that show too.
She who must not be named.
No. The blonde hacker girl is Chloe.
Yeah.
We don't talk about Allison Mack.
No,
anymore.
but the point is they did do it funny, and they made him like Batman too.
No. You don't even get so Chloe eventually became Watchtower. Now let me just tell you her character. So she sits in the headquarters and she directs people where to go. She's a woman in the chair. And she's dating like Green Arrow. Or Overwatch.
Overwatch.
So am I describing Chloe or am I describing Arrow? Smallville, that's what I'm getting.
And they turned him. He even had a voice changer like the Green Arrow. It looks like what they basically did is just took the Smallville Green Arrow and said, "We're going to make a show about him. He already failed being Aquaman."
You have failed.
That's essentially what they did. I think at one point they were actually planning on doing a Green Arrow spinoff after Smallville, and then that turned into Arrow. I know at one point they're talking about doing a Robin show, like a prequel Robin show, where he's at Haley Circus, just do Robin but Smallville kind of style, young Robin at Haley Circus. Imagine a young Starfire crashing and landing at Haley Circus, and then they have an adventure
or the Gordons go to the circus. And
no.
Teladia, did you know that the last issue of Tom King's Nightwing came out, and then Grayson brings Barbara to the grave of his parents, and he said, "Mom, Dad, this is Barbara. I hope to marry her one day."
That didn't happen. That didn't happen.
Yes, it did. It's canon. It's canon. It's canon.
Not in my DC universe. It's not. My head canon gets it out.
It's
Not
canon.
It is. Fire the cannon. But anyway.
Yes, I'll load Teladia in it first.
Well, exactly. But so that's my thing there. On that, see, here's the thing with Smallville. That got, like, for the first 4 seasons, that got pretty much the vibe and the spirit of Superboy. I say Superboy because that's what he was known as back then. Once it leaves that, he leaves Smallville, it turns into a bootleg.
Comment.
You mean like how technically Aunt May being Pete?
You're reminding Jared of what he has to read for April Fool's Day.
Okay, I'm going to say it for April Fool's next year, I have to read Trouble. So Barry, thanks. Anyway, continuing on. No, but it's so when you look at it, it's like, so what I did. So here's the funny part, Nick. I watched like a couple episodes of season 1. I skipped to the season where the Justice League showed up because I wanted to watch the Justice League. Now, there were some cool stuff in there. Like, I liked Mira in that show. She was great.
Wait, Mira's an Aquaman?
No. Yeah, she's for an episode.
Huh.
So remember when AC, for some reason they called Aquaman AC, I hated that, is like captured by General Wilson.
Oh yeah, I remember that.
Mira saves them, and then it turns out. So previous to this episode, Arthur went somewhere. According to Mira, he claimed the throne of Atlantis and found her. So I'm like, that would have been a good show. Oh yeah, they were going to make a Aquaman show with Green Arrow playing Aquaman.
Also,
Yeah,
Adrian Palicki was going to be the villain.
I could see
Wait,
that.
what?
And then also Jules from Pulp Fiction, Ving Rhames, was his mentor.
I kind of see that. But see, here's the thing. There were some cool stuff in there. The problem is, okay, I'm going to give you a good example of why I agree with Nick that that from season 4 and on, Smallville goes off the rails. So they introduced Doomsday before he's Superman, and they turn him into the Hulk.
Well, my thing is introducing Lois, like when he was.
That's
still
never a good idea in a Superman adaptation.
You could say it's kind of lame.
Ah, there you go.
They wanted to bring Bruce in, but they were stopped by the bat embargo.
Well, see, I would have accepted it if they at least said, "Oh, so did you hear what Bruce Wayne in Gotham did, or something like that? Did you hear there's this bat creature in Gotham?" At least if they could have referenced him, I would have been like, "Oh, okay, that's fine."
Isn't there a story where the car breaks down in Smallville and like at the Kent farm, and like Bruce and Clark actually play and they spend the day together, and Alfred feels like, "Oh, I fixed up the car hours ago. It's just Bruce is having so much fun. I just forgot to tell him."
That's nice. Well, the other thing they could have done is at least have Diana like reference or show up, because here, Legends of Tomorrow royally pissed me off. So there was an episode where they save Helen of Troy. So they decide, okay, we can't send you back to Troy for some reason, so we're gonna leave you in Themyscira. All it is a flyover the frickin' island. And I said, well, actually,
and it's stock footage from Wonder Woman movie.
But by the way, a very old episode of Under Two Capes, because I talked about this and I said what they could have done. Show the ship landing, just show a line of women on a beach receiving Helen. A little girl runs by, and then Hippolyta goes, "Diana, stop running." That's all you had to do.
But that would imply the legends travel back in time. I don't know. It seems unnecessary.
They do.
But
it's not necessary. They don't give a time period of when they arrive on the island.
But Jared, here's the thing. I think the reason why they couldn't show the Amazons and all of that. I think it's because of the Wonder Woman embargo or the Bat embargo, whatever it's called.
There's too many
Yeah.
embargoes to
Yeah,
keep
was
track
too-
of. I'm like,
There was too many embargoes that. So, for example, we couldn't use Batman in Smallville, right? That's because of the Bat embargo that
thank
Christopher
God for
Nolan
those
put in.
comics. I'm going to tell you this.
Yeah.
My problem with that thing on Smallville is that they left out the good characters that would have actually worked in a Superman show, and they brought in like all the D-listers that have little to do with Superman. So I'm like the Legion I get because they're tied to Superman, so you
Yeah.
can't leave them out. Booster Gold,
Blue Beetle.
The suit was good though. The Booster Gold suit was good.
yeah, some stuff in there was good. Don't get me
Like
started. How they
the
made
JSA episode. That was actually written
And
by Jeff
then-
John, I think.
And then you find out that Darkseid is a freaking cloud.
Oh, you forgot the best episode. They did a Wonder Twins episode.
That's never the best episode. Although they did have a pretty good adaptation of the Female Furies. I like that. But anyway, so Barry says, Supergirl lost me when they started disrespecting Superman. I think I know what he's talking. Are you talking about how like Superman was like very antagonistic toward John Jones? And I was like, well, that's odd. And then later, when they gave him his own show, Tyler Hoechlin would later endear me to his portrayal of Superman until they killed him and brought him back immediately.
I think if we're talking Supergirl, they very clearly say what it is because John Jones has been running the DO for some time, and they disagreed on him keeping kryptonite as a deterrent, and that was their disagreement.
And yet he lets Batman keep it.
I mean, we're crossing canons here.
No, but Batman does exist in this continuity, so I can assume this happened. No, it does. Because guess what? Because when she's talking to Jimmy Olsen, the not ginger, attractive dude, very confident, who becomes Guardian for some reason, he goes, my cousin said he worked with a vigilante, kind of a dark, brooding guy. There's only one DC character that Clark would work with.
I mean, to be fair, they have made it very clear Batman does exist in the universe. Like, and Supergirl does like, oh, this is why we left Gotham. I think Ollie like, what? Do you think Bruce Wayne and Batman? See, like he kind of makes the thing. And then also in the Elseworlds crossover, they obviously do a lot of Batman.
Oh, here we go. Barry says how they had Kara beat him when they started pushing him out as Earth's champion and giving that title to Kara, making him into an afterthought that isn't needed because she exists. Well, here's the thing, though. It is implied in the comics that Kara is more powerful than Clark because of her, like, younger, basically, metabolism. But yeah, I do agree with you that, like, shafting Clark for his cousin is kind of stupid.
I don't like that because Kryptonians are essentially solar batteries, and Clark should be the most powerful because he's had more time on Earth to absorb the solar radiation.
Yeah. Blame Jeff Loeb by Cameron says, never liked how they made Kara have the same job as Clark. Again, because here's what you guys have to understand about these shows. These are we want to make a show about this character, but we can't. So we're going to make this show like that show. Supergirl is Superman. Arrow is Batman. Flash is the Flash. So that I'm fine with. That is pretty much the Flash.
I will say from a character and chemistry standpoint, I actually do like the Arrowverse trinity of Green Arrow, Supergirl, and Flash. I like how they play off each other really well.
There was some cool stuff. I have some good memories of the Arrowverse. Like I liked all the crossovers. The Crisis on Earth X was my favorite crossover. That was really cool with all the evil versions of those characters. I like seeing the actors have to play two different versions. That was cool.
And one of my favorites was the second one. Where it's like, so a bunch of superheroes hiding in a farmhouse. Where have I seen that before? Thea says that, referencing Age of Ultron. I thought that was nice.
Yeah. Cameron says the Arrow DC the Arrow Trinity was hilarious. How about when they set up the Justice League and never reference it again? I'm like, That would have been cool. Apparently, their original plans, if they had gotten the ability to do another crossover, would have been Justice League.
Really?
Yeah, that's what that was trying to set up. I remember they basically made a Super Friends reference where they had a cage that had the name of the monkey from Super Friends.
And then I had the Super Friends theme song.
Mm-hmm.
I like the episode of Supergirl where they had Linda Carter come on, and they actually had Kara do a spin transformation as a tribute. I was like, okay, that makes no sense, but I like it.
Let's not forget, Linda Carter plays the president of the United States in the Arrowverse. So you're telling me Wonder Woman was elected president? She's in the Witness Protection Program. Nick, this is the Linda Carter cinematic universe. She spent time as the principal of Sky High and then was elected president.
We still need to do that movie one of these days.
I could do it anytime, but okay. I stand by comics. Cat Grant being a way better love interest than people give her credit for. Yeah, she's way better than Lois. She liked Clark first and genuinely cared for him. She was nice and sweet to him, not the bimbo later. Yeah, exactly. Okay, I'm fine with that, Nick. Yeah, okay. You can do that. I will authorize that. Yeah, exactly. So the saddest thing is that the Arrowverse was. Oh yeah.
See, yeah, because the reason, like the thing is, Arrowverse had a bat embargo because of Gotham, like because you notice how as soon as Gotham went off the air, that's when they did Batwoman. The thing is, I liked her in Elseworlds. Like the version of Batwoman we got in Elseworlds, I actually kind of liked. If that's a version we got without all the cringe stuff, it actually might have worked.
Or how about that? What I will say, even though I don't like how they portrayed him, I did like Kevin Conroy in the Kingdom Come suit, even though he killed Superman. So I'm like, okay, but I did like that. That was kind of cool. I'll
but mind you, Kevin Conroy loved being evil version Batman.
I'm fine with that. By the way,
he literally said that.
Can I say this? What does it say that the CW adapted the Superman suit better than James Gunn did? Because if they had gone for the look of the Kingdom of the Kingdom Come suit in the Arrowverse, like the material and everything like that, and made it more like that instead of like the armored thick padding, I would have been totally fine with that. Because I'm like, okay, you're going with that.
Can I give a hot take, please, Jared? You're not going to like this. I think Tyler Hoechlin's black suit, like his black evil Superman suit, is actually better than Henry Cavill's.
Why? It has the cape.
I like it because it's different. Like they add kind of like that high collar. The thing is that my problem with the black suit is it feels just like a color change. I mean, it literally is, but it doesn't really feel like it doesn't feel special enough. It just feels like a color variation of his normal stuff. Whereas the Tyler Hoechlin suit is different and it has its kind of own flair. It feels like a different suit entirely.
Because you know why? That was the Superman suit of that Earth.
And I liked it, and I feel like that actually worked better than like I'm sorry, I wanted base like the black like imagine like the Black Adam suit but on Henry, and it's the Superman suit.
If I wanted that, I would have read the comics though.
Also, Henry Cavill with a mullet
and a beard. I would have been fine with that. I would have been fine with
WB. Blame WB on that one.
Yeah.
No. Imagine for when he comes back, he just has the mustache from Fallout. That's how they explain it.
See, here's what you kind of have to realize about the Henry Cavill black suit, because the reason why it looks like that and like has the cape and everything like that is because they wouldn't let him, because Zack wanted to make a black suit, and I get the feeling he would have had without the cape, made it look more like the comics. But WB wanted Superman to come back in his blue suit and look all nice. So that's, and remember, I've said before that like Zack had to do it where like he could easily like color change in Photoshop if they change their mind. That's why the suit is like that. By the way, Cameron says so the Superman and Lois suit is easily my favorite live action Superman suit because it actually looked like something a person would wear, all due respect to the trunks. Yeah, the first season suit had too much padding. And it kind of makes his head look a little small, but besides that, I was fine with it. Hot take: but Gotham was good. It only failed when they started to focus more on the Batman side, if that makes sense.
I would agree with this.
Mhm.
I think because the show is very clearly kind of doing like a Burton light adaptation. Like I feel it's the only like there's been a lot of times they tried to do a Burton-esque like adaptation. Birds of Prey. I feel like Gotham is really the only one that truly nailed the tone of like Burton Batman.
Yeah, exactly.
Mhm.
So then, Gotham was great. It just lost me at the series finale. All that build up for an awful costume. Yeah, that Batsuit is brutal. I'm like, no.
One thing I really enjoyed is the will they won't they between Bruce and Selena was really great. Like I know like that's a change. We're talking about change here to kind of bring this back to the topic.
Yeah.
Bruce didn't meet Selena until they're adults, but making them like childhood sweethearts, it actually worked. Like the chemistry between the and then also I will say I didn't like making Barbara Keene kind of like a Harley Quinn light. I know the Joker stuff was because like they wouldn't allow him to be Joker, so they had to go right up to the line with that character.
Or Nick, how about the way Gotham adapted Poison Ivy?
Okay.
I'm gonna say this. Wait, I have a good way to describe this. They John Kented her.
No, it's worse. I have to do the same joke. Okay, I'm gonna pull a joke I did from Rumble Stream. I swear, if I had a nickel for every time they took a childhood Poison Ivy and then aged her up for no freaking reason, I'd have 2 nickels. But it's weird that they've done it twice. Suicide Squad.
Actually, and also
3 times.
That's the reverse, though. It went from an adult to a kid.
Yeah.
Okay, fair.
They changed age. Okay, I'll let you have that. They changed age, and that's a good. I figured that's what you were referencing.
I'll take half a point.
By the way, so Baron says, I would have really enjoyed an episode. Bruce makes friends with a certain farm boy who's amazing. Amazing things happen around, but Bruce never sees it, and they leave on good terms. Yep, that's Clark. Or they technically did Superman and Linda Carter's Wonder Woman. Britt and I talked about this. There was this episode where she meets a dude that has an experiment done on him where he becomes invulnerable, and he looks suspiciously like Christopher Reeve. It's not him, but it looks like him. He even says, "Hey, you should," at some point, she at the end of the episode, she says, "You could join the circus." And then she goes, and he goes, "Oh, what?" And wear tights and a cape. And then she goes, "Well, you would look good." And I'm like, I see what you're doing here. Black Lightning.
Okay, and I need
best.
Like, when did the show run? Because I'm kind of curious.
2014.
No, the
Which show?
Okay. So the Wonder Woman TV show was actually, I guess, was 75 to 79. So it was running when the original Superman movie came out. They could have. Imagine if they would have just had an episode where his character did as a promotion for the movie.
By the way, did you know that in a canceled sequel to the Chris Reeve Superman movie, they wanted him to break up with Lois because they didn't like him with a human protagonist. Wait. It gets worse. You don't want this. But they wanted to pair him with Supergirl. What? She would not obviously be related to him, obviously, in this continuity, but it's still creepy. Cue my Kryptonian banjo.
I mean, honestly, if you want to do a Kryptonian romance, have him get with Ursa or Fiora. Like it's weird, but at least they're not related and they're adults.
Or don't even do Kryptonians. Have them get together with an Amazon because that sells books. Barry Allen says, I will never let Super Wonder haters live down Linda Carter saying, good for her. She needs a man in her life. Forget Steve Trevor. That's literally what she said when she found out they were a couple. So she needs a man in her life. Yeah. Thank you. So was that, the 90s Flash suit was clean. Yeah. So was that... So who was that Supergirl in the Flash? That's the one that they wanted him to end up with, if you will.
Wait. The one from the 1984 movie?
Yeah.
In that movie, it said that she's related to Superman.
I think they would have changed that, or like not put that part in the script had they been able to go along with the plot. By the way, that's
I
a
mean,
movie
I
we have
think
to
a
rant
Superman
about.
5. I think a Superman 5 with Superman and Supergirl, Chrissy's like with Chris, like Helen Slater and Christopher Reeve in like '91 would have been kind of cool.
Yeah. Barry Allen says, if you really want him to get with an alien, you use Maxima. No, Maxima belongs with Batman, as we all know that.
Oh, Jared, I have a really great idea for a future episode. It's a alternate BVS. Christopher Reeve Batman versus Christopher Reeve Batman. Oh God. Oh, okay, old man.
Somebody clip that.
Christopher
I was
Reeve
waiting
Superman.
for you. Wait, no. I didn't say anything because I was waiting for you to catch yourself.
Christopher Reeve Superman and the '89 Batman.
I would love
And
that. By the way,
and by the way, this happens. We get this instead of Batman Returns.
and by the
So
way,
it happened in '92.
someone clip that moment. Someone clip that moment.
Somebody clip that moment and send it
I'm
to
sure
me.
some. I'm sure.
From
some
now
will.
on, he will be known as Nick Christopher Reeve Batman from the Phoenix Press.
Yeah.
I mean, that's not a bad title to be fair. But
That's not
I
a
just
bad
think it'd
title. It
be cool
includes
to like
Batman,
speculate BVS in '93, and the thumbnail could literally be, Reeve and the Burton Batman.
Okay, we know what we're talking about next week. Anyway, continuing. Appreciate
It's a
that. You
I
give me
think-
the title.
I just think it's a great, Batman versus Superman in 1993.
By the way, so Cameron says, do you guys actually accept Black Lightning and Doom Patrol changes since majority of fans aren't going to get upset? Okay, so here's what I say on that. Because there's this whole... Because the reason why James Gunn, per se, likes a lot of the obscure characters is because he can change a lot of stuff. What I always say, I don't tolerate that because if you let them change the smaller characters, eventually it will trickle up to the major characters. It's a slippery slope. Do not change any characters.
Mm-hmm.
If you can't adapt them, don't adapt them. It's really that simple. Not every character needs a movie, James Gunn. Sorry. Had to. But yeah, it's... Go ahead, Nick. You had something to add?
The ones that I don't like is when they essentially do a in name only adaptation of a character where a character is like totally different, and you're like, why don't Taskmaster at least look like Taskmaster if you're talking about Black Widow? He at least wore the armor.
Wait, Master
For 5
Chief?
seconds.
Master Chief?
All
did you
right,
say?
Jared. We know this whole episode was for you to do another Halo rant, so cook.
Okay, so you would... Here's the other thing. So you're adapting source material. Let's have our creatives not look at the source material we're literally adapting. That's all I'm going to say, because that's a... How long do you think people are going to complain about John not being gay and Superman and Lois, even though that the change happened after the show? I don't think... see, here's the thing, Barry. For people to get upset about that, there would have to be people that care about John Kent in the comics, and there's not enough for that to ever happen.
Yeah, agreed.
That's the thing. No, judging by John's comic sales, he's not that big. If it were like actually Clark and they changed that, or Renee Montoya and they changed that and made her straight in the show, yeah, I could see people getting pissed off about that.
Renee Montoya was straight up until like 10 years ago.
Okay, Kate Kane, Batwoman. I could see if they made her straight in a show, I could see people getting pissed off about that because that's part of who she is.
I mean, okay. Also, Kate Kane is an example of like changes, because Batwoman is a character that's existed since like the 60s in some form or another.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's essentially a new character, but the name itself, the title, the mantle, if you will. I'm sorry, I just had to do that. The reason I think Batwoman works is, yes, she's gay, but that's just one part of her character. It doesn't make her, like, they actually took the time to make an interesting character who is also gay, and I think that's why Batwoman works.
Yeah, and that's how Kate Kane was straight up until 2005. Okay, but my point is, if they were to adapt Kate Kane now, like in the Batwoman show, if they made her straight in that show, I could also see people complaining if they didn't even address it and didn't have her get into any romances in the show and just said it's a Batwoman show.
I'm just gonna say, I'm surprised Batwoman season 2 onward didn't just say, "Oh, this is Kate Kane." Like, wait, she's black. This is Kate Kane. I'm surprised they didn't do that.
See, here's the thing. It's not like they didn't have a villain named Hush in the show that could change people's faces. They literally see. Here's the stupid part. They could have replaced her, and they did, but they just created a new character that they tried to force it. You know what's hilarious? I'm going to show you this. So a couple of years ago, for I think it was San Diego Comic-Con, DC came out with these tote bags that have like all the characters that they're going to emphasize and stuff. What's hilarious is this one tote bag. Okay, here it is. So this was supposed to be what, like, essentially advertising what they were emphasizing for the year. So the funny part is when you look at this, so here's the bag. So you have like Black Adam, you have there's Superman and Lois, there's Supergirl, Sasha Calle, there's all the listers, there's Michael Keaton. There's also Leslie Grace Batgirl here. And the funny part is that when you look at this, none of this actually happened.
Yeah.
What year was this?
This was the year. Yeah, this was 2020.
Oh, God.
I know, right?
This is when Fandom happened. DC Fandom.
Yep, this around the time DC Fandom happened. They had this that they were using it as an advertisement, and I remember I saw on Twitter one year, I think it was last year. They go, "Remember how sad it is that none of this ended up happening." Barry says,
"Part of it's not their fault. I'll give them some credit.
Not their fault, but it's kind of funny how DC tried to market that." By the way, Naomi McDuffie and Black Adam are to be the most random pushes in DC history. Well, Naomi was only pushed because who was writing Justice League at the time? He who must not be named and who sucked at creating characters. Sage Torres says, "Not gonna lie, I actually found Ryan's character slightly more compelling than the CW's lame Kate Kane version." I watched the first episode of Batwoman.
And it did not impress you.
What the hell?
It'll be
was that?
perfect. You know, Jared, it'll be perfect when it fits a woman.
That's literally a line from the show, Teladia. That's literally a line from the show.
And
I'm watching this. Here's why I watched it. Out of morbid curiosity. Because I wanted to say I gave it a Okay, that was good. I like that one. So I'm sitting here and I'm watching it. And first off, the acting it's bad for CW standards. And then I'm watching this, and the lines like that, I'm watching this, and I'm like, this is the worst stuff I've ever seen. And then I kept saying, where is Bruce Wayne?
He's missing.
And then we got Gotham Knights.
Yeah, let's just be honest. Gotham Knights totally ripped off the plot from Batwoman.
Yeah. Except
TV
remember, the bat suit was just him in a regular suit with a Halloween bat mask. That's
and by the way, guys, we're talking about the TV show, not about the
TV show, not the game. The game gave a good send up for Batman and actually had a good suit. The other one, though,
didn't they kill off Batman twice in that game? Like he was dead, they revived him, then they killed him again 5 minutes later.
That's why when people say, "Oh, that game gave an actual good send off to Batman," I'm like, "Yeah, the beginning was, but then they brought him back and then killed him again."
Pretty much like Superman and Lois.
except at least he was dead the entire game.
And unless all the DLC comes out, just like Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League.
Yeah, exactly. No, but Nick,
Jared,
here's
I just
my
want to
problem.
say this. If the DLC where Superman actually gets redemption gets canceled, and that is actually the last time we see Batman, you and I are going to have words.
Then we're going to be pissed. But anyway, see, the last thing I'm going to say, I want to talk a little bit about Superman and Lois adapting Death of Superman because they failed on that. So, Nick, what was all the marketing for this season of Superman and Lois? If you've seen any trailer about it.
I really didn't. That's a Superman?
He dies. Yes, exactly. And they actually said they wanted to give their version of a world without Superman. So I thought that was going to be the entire season. And they kill him in, it was episode 1, right, Teladia?
Yeah, episode 1 they killed him. No, episode 2 they actually fully fledged killed him.
Yeah. Okay. So episode 2 they kill him. Episode 3. The end of episode 3, they revive him.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, what?
You said
Wait,
you said
I got. I'm sorry.
it.
I got the. So you're saying they couldn't stand a world without Superman?
No, they couldn't. Oh my freaking god! You should. Teladia was there because we were live reacting to that episode. I literally said no. And the other thing, guess what they adapted from the Decamu? Remember that cringe ass scene when Clark reveals his identity to Lois and goes, "I'm Superman." He does. So they flash back to Clark telling Lois's father his identity, and he just does this.
Why?
Oh, and there was a good line there when they flash back to Clark asking for General Lane for the permission to ask Lois to marry him. So he goes, "I'd like to have a permission to marry your daughter." And then guess what? The father goes immediately, like without dropping a beat, "That is the stupidest idea I've ever heard." And I go, "Yes, that is a stupid idea. I'm going to clip that. I'm going to clip that." But yeah. But hey, it's Kryptonian tech. And then what they do, it's a week, so I can say this. The way they bring him back is General Lane. So there was the serum in season 3 that was made from Superman's blood. So he injects himself with it. Doomsday kills him, and then it turns out this was all intentional. Steel brings General Lane's body to the Fortress of Solitude, and they give him and they put General Lane's heart in Superman.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
It's the most convoluted crap I've ever seen. I'm watching this and I'm like, that's how they do it.
And you're like,
Wait, I have a question for you guys. Is Tal Rho still alive?
Yes.
As far as we know, he's on a different Earth.
Here's what I would have done. I would have brought in Tal Rho, have him give his heart, because that would be a perfect send-off for his character. You know, like the perfect capstone. Like, he's so selfless. Yeah. He gives his whatever to him, because that's a perfect heroic sacrifice. For his character arc is complete. He's so unselfish. He gives his life for his brother. Like, and that literally kills Superman with one stone. Get a perfect ending for Tal Rho, and then you still get to revive Superman. That worked beautifully. That is a great scene.
But they have to have a scene in the next episode where when Clark uses his powers too strong, his heart acts up and he kind of gets a little heart attack. So we see Superman having heart issues.
You might have to go back to
that. Nick's reaction right there was my reaction when I'm watching this. I'm like, what the hell?
No, your reaction was, "God damn it!" That's exact words.
That was my reaction. Exact words. I was like, "God damn it! Why?"
Yeah, and I had to make a clip out because it was perfect.
And by the way, so remember in episode 1 at the end, they just drop. Okay, so you don't want this to go to Brainiac's head, so they just name drop Brainiac. I'm gonna make a prediction. It's a Jared prediction. They're not gonna have Brainiac show up in the season. That was just like, hey, Brainiac exists in this universe. That was just them being stupid. So right now, this season, it started off strong. It started off as like one of the strongest openings I've ever seen. And then it immediately crapped the bed. Anyway, continuing on. I think it's a good place to leave it. But essentially, there are good when you're adapting comics or games.
Yeah.
Actually, let's not end it real quick. But Britt says, human and Kryptonian DNA shouldn't even be... yeah, exactly! Thank you, Britt. By the way, Britt's here. So, where is it? Up here.
He's back.
The only type of DNA that should mix with a Kryptonian, if it's not a Kryptonian, is Amazonian DNA.
Thank you. But speaking of Amazonian, Kavari says you won't get a Wonder Woman casting after 2026 because of a two-picture deal with Gal Gadot. But she's not playing Wonder Woman.
Yeah, she's not coming back, Kavari. Gal Gadot's not returning.
Why?
Yeah,
Why do
and the thing
people
about
think she's coming back?
Yeah, she had a pretty public breakup with plus yeah, I'll get to that in a second, but the thing about the picture deals is they usually have a time limit on them. Like they'll say, okay, you have a 2-picture deal, but it expires in 2025. That's why we haven't gotten X-Men films, because a lot of the X-Men stars, their contracts expire in 2025.
That it would be so great if the DCU fails and we never get Wonder Woman or Batman in the universe. Wouldn't that be interesting? Anyway, and Superman is basically Pa Kent with heart issues. That's what's going to end. It's going to end with him getting a heart attack. Clark is going to die, and then his sons are going to come over as Superman. He's going to die twice. They're going to Gotham Knights him.
And then Clark goes up to heaven. He meets his dad. It's like, so what finally killed you? Was it Doomsday? Was it Batman with his kryptonite ring?
At first it was Doomsday.
And then Clark says, I had a heart attack. And then Pa Kent's like, well, that is, of all the things that could have killed you,
like father, like son,
literally at the bottom of the list. That was literally at the bottom of the list.
Sage Torres says, not to mention the people divide on Gal Gadot given her nationality. That's overblown. That's overblown. The majority of people don't care about her Israeli heritage, okay? Twitter is not real life.
I would argue because she's not in the spotlight. If she was put in mainstream spotlight, it could become an issue.
Besides the political stuff, right? Because we're not a political channel, right?
Agreed. Yeah, we're not talking that.
The thing is, she's not coming back because James Gunn doesn't want anything to do with the DCEU cast. He's literally said that, right? So I don't know where people get in their mind thinking that Zachary Levi, Gal Gadot is returning when they're
Zachary Levi is definitely not coming back.
Zachary Levi is not coming back because if he after poor performance of Harold and the Purple Crayon, excuse me, no, you're not coming back.
Your first mistake was starring in Harold and the Purple Crayon.
Yeah.
Well, also publicly coming out for a candidate, that's going to cause issues.
Yep. So by the way, I want to say real quick before we wrap up, I want to name a funny comment I got on my Steve Trevor "Should He Remain Dead" video. Someone said if they ever do another crossover with Marvel, Wonder Woman should fall in love with Paul.
You mean Paul the alien?
No, Paul, the one that's dating Mary Jane.
Kill it with fire. No, Jared. I have the perfect ship. Lois Lane and Paul.
United in evil. And their apartment number is 666.
Oh.
Anyway, I think that's a good place to leave it. Thanks for watching. And guys, yes, to TJU. But Nick, where can we find you and what have you got coming on your channel?
All right, tomorrow we're doing our Friday night feature. We're doing the Scooby-Doo movie, the 2002 Scooby-Doo movie. It's gonna be pretty fun. Saturday, I'm starting a new playthrough of Ghostbusters, the 2009
Who are you gonna
game.
call? Not this guy! I'm like,
then Monday, me and Jared were reviewing The Long Halloween.
it's gonna be a long day. Give me a long day.
Yes, it will be.
How about you, Teladia?
As for me, tomorrow I'm actually uploading my collab video with Joypad Jake as we talk about DC characters that deserve their very own video game. That's coming up tomorrow. And then next Tuesday will be a reaction with Jared for Superman and Lois episode 5. Episode 4, episode 5. And then we will be doing on Wednesday Snyder Fans Read Comics as we talk Absolute Wonder Woman and New 52 Forever Evil Comics. That's what we'll be talking about.
Hell yeah. And by the way, Kavari says that if they announced a new Wonder Woman before 2026, WB would have to pay her $20 million. Oh, okay. So that's what he means. It's like until 2026, they cannot cast Wonder Woman.
But no,
it's not like Yeah, because he's been publicly actively trying to cast her. Well, who knows at that point? So for Comics League, Britt and I are going to be talking about our favorite horror movies, and we're going to put Superman and Wonder Woman into horror movies. As far as movie night, we're going to be talking about Batman: The Mystery of the Batwoman. Awesome movie, pretty catchy soundtrack, if I may say so myself. Nick and I are going to be talking about STAS on Sunday. On next Wednesday, I will be doing a review of Absolute Wonder Woman. Fantastic book, fantastic. And yeah, what's up, Nick?
I do have a request. Can you put Wonder Woman in Halloween? And Laurie's role.
That would end in like 2 seconds. Hey, Michael Myers, come here, rip in half. He tries to hit her with a meat cleaver and it just breaks.
Oh.
He's like, did you think that was gonna work, you moron? Or no, she blocks it and then it's like, what have you got? By the way, Nick, here's a panel of Barbara Gordon and Nightwing kissing.
Yeah.
And so Absolute Wonder Woman.
Ew.
Yeah. Nick just got cooties. And in terms of
Yeah,
exactly. And I think that's about it. Oh yeah, next week we will be doing retro BVS. That's a fantastic idea.
I now have stage 4 butt cancer because of you, Jared.
Worth it. So stay heroic, everyone. Remember, Lois Lane is Lois Lane. She belongs to General Zod, Zois, and Max Abat for life. We will see you later. Bye-bye.